can't buy love. You can't buy everything. Let's take a hypothetical situation in which he really could buy anything. He has so much money, he could buy countries, he could buy the planet, whatever it is. In this case, sorry? Yeah. Then what happens is the scarcity moves from being one of money to being one of time. He's got 24 hours in a day, and he's going to live for X number of years. He can't consume everything. So even for Bill Gates, things are scarce. Second law of economics. Every choice involves an opportunity cost. The opportunity cost is, what do you give up to get what you got? For example, you talk about mom and pop shops versus big box retailers. I have a friend who loves to send around these emails saying about how evil Walmart is. Right? She's well meaning. I said, April, you're sending me this nonsense about the evils of Walmart, blah, blah, blah. I said, what's the deal? She said, Walmart is putting the mom and pop shops out of business, and this is bad, blah, blah. I said, April, where do you shop? Oh, I shop at Walmart. I said, but April, there's a mom and pop shop just down the street from you. Why don't you shop there? Well, the prices are higher and they don't have as much selection. I said, well, yeah, there's the trade-off. If you want a world comprised of all mom and pop shops, okay, that's fine, that's your preference. But understand what you're giving up. What you're giving up is selection, low prices, all that nonsense. Pollution versus no pollution. How many people believe that a lot of pollution is a bad thing? Pretty much everybody can agree with that. How many people believe that no pollution is a bad thing? Yeah, the ex-economists agree with that. No pollution is as bad as a lot of pollution. Think about that. No pollution is as bad as a lot of pollution. Any of you bought a head of lettuce recently? You know what you pay for a head of lettuce? You don't buy lettuce. 25 cents? 95 cents. Yeah, in fact, they don't even sell it in heads anymore. You buy it in bags or pre-packaged things. You know how this works? The farmers have this huge machine. I mean, like organization. And nobody drives it. It's run by computer and GPS and this whole thing, right? And it harvests the lettuce. And the lettuce has been specifically modified genetically to grow narrow and tall. And why narrow and tall? Because it grows narrow and tall, it makes it very easy for this machine to come along and harvest the stuff, right? Now, what does the machine do, right? So this is something the size of a building. It comes barreling down the thing. It has this thing that pushes the little bugs out of the way, right? You imagine your bug is Armageddon coming at you. And after it pushes the bugs out of the way, it harvests this lettuce and it sucks it up into something and shovels the thing down and separates out the rocks and the twigs and whatnot, and it washes the leaves, and it vacuum seals it in a bag and refrigerates it. This is all automated. The thing goes around and does all this stuff. And when it's done, it drives itself to the building, backfitting where there's a truck. So people load their lettuce onto the truck, and off the truck goes to the grocery store. Now, how much pollution is involved there? Well, it's a decent amount of pollution. It's non-zero amount of pollution because the thing is, some machine doing the machine thing. You can imagine all of the pollution that was generated in the production of the machine. But the fact of the matter is, all of that gives you a head of lettuce. 95 cents. If you were to grow that same head of lettuce in a zero pollution environment, that means what? Well, first off, it means no machine. You've got to plant the lettuce seeds by hand, right? In fact, you probably shouldn't be using a hoe because the hoe is the metal part on it, and the metal was smelted to generate pollution, so you can't do that. I would even question the wooden handle because the wooden handle comes from a tree. You got to cut the tree down unless you want to do it with a what do you call this? The axe, except the axe is the metal part, and that requires smelting. You could break it off, maybe, yeah. And then when you finally grown the lettuce, you have to walk it to the supermarket where they cannot store it under refrigeration. What's the final cost of a head of lettuce? It's not any 95 cents. A no pollution world is bad because in a no pollution world, the cost of goods are astronomical. A lot of pollution world is bad also. There's some optimal amount of pollution. And one of these rules about economics is everything involves a trade-off. Too much pollution, then we die. Too little pollution, then we die also. All right, so second law of economics. Third law of economics, the cosmos is a nonlinear place. that mean? Well, it means if you push a little bit on the lever and you get some response, pushing twice as hard is not going to give you twice as much response. Cosmos is a nonlinear place. There's all kinds of reasons for that. If you want to talk about it over here, we can do that. But basically, the world works nonlinearly. You can see it, for example, in the argument about taxes. If you go from a zero tax rate to a 10% tax rate, how many taxes, what happens to taxes the government collects? It goes up, right? If you go from a 90% tax rate to a 100% tax rate, what happens to the taxes the government collects?
There's none.
It goes down. Why? Because the relationship between the tax level and the amount of revenue the government collects is nonlinear. Finally, people respond to incentives. There was an airplane accident some years ago, and in this airplane accident, there were one or two deaths, and they were children. And there was a big push in Congress to make it mandatory that any child who flies an airplane must be in a car seat. It was determined that if these kids had been strapped in the car seats on the plane, they probably would have survived. All right, so Congress debates this thing. They pass this law saying, all right, if you've got a kid under age whatever, if you take him on the airplane, he's got to be in a car seat. What happened to child travel fatalities?
They went up.
They went up. Why did they go up? It became more expensive to fly, therefore parents drove. And the probability of dying in a car accident is astronomical compared to the probability of dying in a plane accident. People responded to incentives. The incentive that Congress put on people was it is now more expensive to fly. And so, well, okay, well, I'm going to drive. And the law ended up achieving the exact opposite of what was intended. So here are your 4 laws of economics. Everything is scarce. Every choice involves an opportunity cost. The cosmos is a nonlinear place, and people respond to incentives. Or in real people language, you want it, you can't have it, so what are you going to do about it?